Welcome to Design Your Life in Business, the podcast for leaders by Bright Mind Consulting Group. We give you the necessary tools to help you become the architect of not just your business, but your life too. I'm your host, Jevon Wooden. Hey, what's going on, Dr. Mario McCoy? How are you, brother?
Man, pretty decent, Jevon. Appreciate you having me, man. Pretty decent. I appreciate you having Incomparable as well. You know, we got to fuse everything together. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. We're going to do something that we haven't covered yet at this point. We're going to talk about the product side of the house, man. So first and foremost, let's get into who are you? Who is Dr. Mario McCoy?
If I could sum myself up in one word, growing. I'm an individual. I'm born and raised on the north side, Hampton Heights District, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've been living in Houston, Texas for about 10 years. I'm a college dropout, turned doctor, dibbled and dabbled in the streets, serial entrepreneur. So I have a lot of layers to me when it comes to connecting with people and being able to read people and being able to read the room. Not even necessarily, what's the terrible terms that we don't like in the hood? Brown nose, nose, or anything like that. But I'm able to really use the environments that I've been a part of, whether it's short term or long term, and really just flip them and use them to my advantage. And that's a piece that comes with growth because you make a lot of mistakes. Same thing as entrepreneurship, same thing as business coaching, same thing as being in school, same thing as being on the block, all of those areas. So that's just one prominent area that I always like to describe myself as. If it's either growth or advancing, but for myself, it's growth.
Absolutely. I mean, growth is necessary. If you're not growing, what happens? You die, right? So,
and you go stale very quick.
Absolutely, especially in business. So I'm glad to hear that, man. So we want to cover your brand. It's called Incomparable. First of all, where did you come up with that name?
Don't be regular, be incomparable. That was the main thing. A lot of incomparable. The name itself, it gravitates to the emotional bond. It gravitates to everyone that has an individual style. Like if you go to the mall and like you have on the dope pole, right? You're going to immediately see somebody, if they have on the same like color shirt as you, or if they even have on that same polo, and be like, I don't want to wear this. I'm cool on it. Like whatever brunch plans I had, whatever professional brunch plans I had, it's a wrap. We're going to change it. So that's the whole thing of being able to infuse being the feeling and the look, no matter what you're wearing, no matter, who you come across. It's deeper than just, what we sell. Like everything is infused in being a feeling and the look. That's that whole thing that embodies Incomparable and everything that we represent just within that umbrella, all of the taglines. Don't be regular, be incomparable, live the incomparable life. Like all of that just really just coincides with who we are, what we do.
I love the name. That's one of the things that really stood out. I've seen your brand for some years now, I believe, and we met at the Marketing for the Culture Summit here in Houston. And you were talking about how you do the vending events and all that other stuff, how you start off with those, and that has become a part of your strategy. So tell me, why watches and eyewear?
I'm glad you caught that. That was a previous market that wasn't necessarily tapped into. When I started Incomparable in 2019, it was less than 10 Black-owned watch brands in the country at that time. This is pre-COVID, pre all of that, right? And my mom used to always tell me to never leave the house without a watch on. This is man law. Like this is like preteen, probably like puberty. She always would tell me, never leave the house without a watch on. And I've always had to wear glasses since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. So being able to take what I've learned growing up in a single parent household, my dad left at an early age and my mom was a social worker. So money was very scarce. It's very, very, very hard to come by. So I didn't have the nicest watch. I didn't have the nicest frame, but I always did a lot of research as far as what made things last. Because, coming up in the inner city, you have to make whatever it is that you wear, no matter what type of material it is, you have to make it last and you have to make it look fresh because people in school are rude and disrespectful. Rude and disrespectful. So being able to take those things and fuse it just into Incomparable, just really taking my experiences and just meeting the world where they are and just providing, like telling our stories just within our product. And just meeting that need. We were definitely underrepresented in both of those spaces, just watches, eyewear, and even adding in just accessories. and being able to add a face to individuals that look like me in the place where I come up at. That's just where our advantage is. That's the watches and the eyewear and your accessories.
I love that. So with that, with identifying a need, what did that market research look like?
Like I said, with the watches, it was less than 10 black owned brands just in the country, just period 2019, just in the US. And that just really came across a lot of research and development as far as what people wanted to see, just in the contemporary minimalist aspect. Because there's over 100,000 just watch brands, just period. Just if you go all the way from the creme de la creme, from Rolex to your mid grades to anyone that's just starting out, right? So all of those, they all have a specific market of being able to identify who their target audience is. So it's just really just finding where that fit is really for Incomparable. And that took a lot of work because you have to grow with your customer. Like you have to evolve. You always have to have your core as far as like who you're going to target and what's going to be your core advantage or whatnot. But being able to know not only what it looks like as far as your research and development is concerned, but how does that look 5 to 10 to 15 years from now when your customers' needs change, right? Like when their customer style change or when the trends change, and how are you going to be able to be an authority in your specific niche, but be able to still appeal to a wide market? So that was a key component in making sure that Incomparable just wasn't a fad because you have to go through those. You can't skip steps, like the late great Nipsey Hussle says, right? Like you can't skip steps at all, and you go through those. When knowing those things, I was able to pick up just different tenets from different brands and different companies that I looked up to, different companies I wore, and just different companies that I was able to see as direct competitors, whether it was competitive analysis as far as pricing, style, store placements, like all of those things really play a big role as far as where Incomparable starts, where we're going to be, and how we want, to grow just as a whole company.
So how did you know what to like research, and how did you know how to find that research? If someone was just starting out, what would you tell them?
For me, and this is going to sound like really biased and really self-centered, I don't want to sound narcissistic at all. I really wanted to find something that I would be proud of wearing because having a really astute taste, especially in not even necessarily fast fashion, because if you're in a fast fashion then and jewelry and all of that, you won't make it because that's when you wear things and your wrist can turn green and people just think really low on your product and your battery die in 2 days and all that. Like we don't want to have any of that. But being able to find certain high fashion aspect is concerned. And that's gonna be, like I said, like the price points, your materials, and knowing the differences between your premium materials and we'll just say need wear, right? And then knowing the differences between what people will wear. I'll just give an example from let's just say a high-end website or high-end watch brand like a Rolex or Tudor watch or Tag Heuer, Tissot watches, all of those. What type of materials that they use and what type of manufacturing that they use from the 1800s on down and how they've been able to pretty much just grow just over time and incorporate that into obviously, a growing company that's started in 2019 and having access to the technology and having more access to what these entities have done to really appeal to not only their target market, but a wide target market. Because growing up, obviously you've heard Biggie, more money, more problems, where your rollies in the sky, even side to side to keep your hands out, all of that. Like we idolize these brands. It's dope. It's cool. It's cool. But we have to have something that represents us at the same time. And we're able to tell our stories and we're able to have that, on our wrist, something we can be proud of wearing years to come. So having that goes with the material because they got to last. That's why the warranties are important. All of that stuff it gives customers that peace of mind to know that we took the research and development and the time of testing and designing and sketching and vetting different manufacturers. But all of those things, just all of that just plays a role into making sure that you just have the most premium materials possible. And it comes with trial and error too, being honest. It comes with trial and error. You gotta know who you're dealing with as far as your manufacturers, with your designs and all of that too. So all of that plays a role.
Absolutely. And what does that process look like? Identifying your suppliers. One, how many suppliers do you recommend having? And then two, what was the process like going through the manufacturers, testing their samples and all that other stuff?
Really with watches, it's anywhere from 12 to 18 months, depending on what you're designing. That's what I recommend as far as the time frame. The sketching and all of that, that's normally done in house, just with Incomparable. But being able to vet as far as manufacturers and build a dope relationship with your manufacturer first and foremost. Make sure that they have as many years in the game as possible, whether it's a stainless steel strap or you go to a specific manufacturer for a sapphire glass, scratch resistant glass, which for anybody that doesn't know, that's the whole dial piece of your watch. So if you ever drop your watch, this is Elevate Link Rose from the Elevate Link collection, limited drop, all that good stuff. But knowing those things and just having those relationships with your manufacturer from making sure, even if you got to visit, because we do a lot of business overseas. So even if you got to visit overseas to build that relationship with your manufacturer, build that trust with your manufacturer, in turn, you will make sure that you get not only a high quality product, but a quicker turnaround is one thing that I have noticed as well. And all of this really just plays a role from testing your product, wearing your product, the weight of your product, making sure that the links and everything are all good, making sure that everything is completely reminiscent of the sketch, from the CADs to the actual Pantone colors. It's all of that stuff matters. But you can't say that you sell a blue watch and then all of a sudden somebody get it and it's like, it look real Carolina blue as a fool. Like this don't look royal blue. Like, this look real Jordan in 82 right now. Like this is,
Right.
like, so all of that like really matters, because at the end of the day, when a customer gets it, they're gonna look at it and be like, okay, I want this watch to complete my look. I want this watch to advance my look. They already have an idea as to what they want a watch to wear with a specific outfit, whether they're going to a specific place, date night, et cetera, et cetera. And that kind of goes back to your previous question and just knowing, who to target, where they're at, because with Incomparable, what I've noticed is that people don't wear the majority of our product every day. And that was a lot of the market that I wanted to go after, because they want to feel good when they're wearing it. Like people, like they have like a sense of pride when they're wearing it. That gives you that sense of high fashion as well. And it's like your Rolexes, it's like your Citizens, it's like your Tudor watches, it's like all of those. It's like, okay, when I go on my high day with Bay, I'm gonna put on my Incomparable, make sure he or she knows that I'm feeling comfortable, and we're gonna have that astute reminder, whether it's on my face or on my wrist, it's advanced. So all of that play a role.
Now I love that, man. So how do you ensure, like, Incomparable is like that high fashion, right? So how do you ensure the quality of each piece is up to par?
Really, we have a whole point system as far as our specs and as far as like each description of our product. So everything is all stainless steel. So that takes care of our sustainability component as well, because we are a premium sustainable material company. So we make sure that that's intact. With our Elevate Link collection, that's our introductory to Swiss quartz movement, which is the step below Swiss automatic. So making sure that that's on point, and just doing the product analysis and the research regarding what type of movement is going to be best for your watch, that's going to line up with your warranties, and it's going to line up with making sure that the longevity of your watch is going to surpass whatever it is that you think is. Because when people tend to get black owned brands, they're going to be honest. When people tend to get black owned brands, for the most part, and it's saying everybody, they tend to have really low expectations, really low, really. So we really have to dot our I's and cross our T's in the specs department, because not only are we obviously, running up against, the higher tier companies that don't have to justify their prices and whatnot. They can have product margins of over 1,000%, et cetera, if they want to. But we have to make sure that everything is vetted. As far as you mentioned earlier with the suppliers, if they do direct business with XYZ company that's a direct competitor, and they let you know, like, okay, we can make this particular band with this particular material, we can make this particular case dial with this particular material, you can still have your design. But if you notice, like, I'm gonna keep on mentioning just our competition, even like our Daniel Wellingtons and the Chero watches, and if you go down to the 150 to 350 ranges and whatnot, as far as the price point, the MSRPs are concerned, a lot of the specs, they're definitely the same. A lot of, which isn't a bad thing, just as far as like the stainless steels and the case dial, the stainless steel strap, the mesh straps, all of them pretty much come from a higher tier quality place, whether it's in the US or overseas or whatnot. So all of that plays a role. But testing is definitely, that's a deal breaker, because if you have a mesh strap and it's a point on it that can like run into your sleeve or whatnot, you gotta send all of those back. You gotta send all of You got to send all of those back because the second customer get that, that's not good at all. And it's something that's beyond your control, but at Incomparable, we definitely do our part to make sure that everything is vetted. And it comes to building that relationship. Once people see it, and once it, not even people, but once our manufacturers really see they have a certain amount of years in the game, certain amount of transactions with the US, certain amount of transactions with you, and you build that trust either by visiting or having that constant communication, that they'll definitely do their part to make sure that they give you the best supplier possible and you can build off that way.
That's dope. And then you mentioned sustainability. How did you decide that you wanted Incomparable to be a sustainable brand?
That's important really for two reasons. And I don't want to forget the second one. The first one really was COVID. When we went into the house, you got to see like all of the animals, especially down here in Houston. So random for everybody that's listening and watching, right? You got to see all the animals that just was like, okay, there's no gas polluting the air because nobody could drive. So you're able to have cleaner air, you're able to see, how gas and how paper, all of that, it impacts the globe and really just having that just in the back of our mind. It's like, what can we do to help the planet without sacrificing the style, without sacrificing the whole elegance, the whole refinement, the whole incomparable look. Like, what can we do to ensure that everything is all stainless steel, not partial, not stuff being zinc alloy that fades and all of that stuff. Like, look, and that goes into having them relationships with the manufacturers as well. And we have those conversations, make sure you have our designs drawn up, make sure their specs are drawn up, and making sure that, we do that due diligence and we look to, we aspire to become climate neutral. And that is a website that definitely helps accessories and just other companies really just vet their whole entire process from top to bottom, not just buying, not just selling, just your company. Like, where's your carbon waste going? Like, what types of materials are you using whenever you're shipping out product, and whatever that we can do to minimize anything from our shipping materials to everything just inside our product catalog to any particular area of Incomparable. Like, they vet everything, and it's an ongoing process. And we just learn from there because we want to do our part really to save the planet, just really without sacrificing, what we do in Incomparable. Like, that's really important for us.
That's dope, man. Like, I love the idea of having it be a sustainable brand. And that means all your suppliers have to be sustainable. That means you have to go there and vet everything that they did. You have to make sure that their carbon footprint was like, and that goes up the chain to you. So salute to you for doing all that work, man. That's some powerful stuff right there.
I want to cut you off. Just like the only thing that really, because you brought the dope point, is just with the manufacturers. We've had people that we didn't trust. We had to kind of them out. But there are certain manufacturers that have certificates already. So if they have certain certificates or just, certain things that's with that, it's okay, you already good, or you already produce this particular item just with, bamboo product, like our Elevate Link collection. Why? Because they all come with a bamboo paper. So instead of, just your normal, and they already knew we were a premium sustainable brand. So with knowing that, I say, okay, you already produced this, or you already have these particular products in your arsenal, so you solid.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I love that part. So let me ask you this: like, what are some of the mistakes you've made? Just growing a brand like Incomparable.
Woo!
I knew I was gonna get something like that. Because this is the part I'm like, all right, let me see, because this man is doing this thing.
What mistakes haven't I made, man? I'm only doing my thing because of the mistakes that have been made. I've made mistakes, definitely financially, because you definitely have to have trial and error. And that comes with one, I wish I would have had a team first, like a broader team first. And as solopreneurs, as serial entrepreneurs, as people that they grow just within the small business space, that's difficult because you have to pay everybody. Nobody wants to do anything pro bono, especially if they see the potential and the growth of your company.
You got to pay them or give them equity, and that's even worse if you kill it.
Even worse. I like to give the example. You ever heard of the Jason Weaver and Lion King story?
Yep, yep.
Where he was talking about either you get the $2 million or you get paid forever off the royalties. So the $2 million is what I could pay you. Or like you just said, you can take the equity or just get paid forever. And I'm, oh my God.
Yeah. That paying forever. or you got to buy them out, and then who knows where that goes, right?
Who knows? Because people wait to sue you. It's really important. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about this later. It's just really important to dot your I's and cross your T's regarding that. So really having a trustworthy team. And I mean, just down from HR to people that ran markets, because when we have a grassroots approach where everything as far as, especially when Incomparable being new, when I started Incomparable, I did every single market, probably say I won't say every single market. I'll say 90% of the markets. I had a couple of friends that came in, when they started to see, we was on TV and all that extra junk. They said, "Oh, you need some help,
When they
Mario?"
seen
Yeah,
Forbes, they said, "Oh, let me get it."
you want to come in and put on the shirt, saying, so okay, it'll work. All right, I'm gonna let you live. So with knowing that in the back of my head, I was like, okay, these are the mistakes that I love to coach just my clients and just love to just have, adult platform musicians really just voicing, just really being tone one with your finances. Don't come out with too much product too soon, especially if you're a boutique brand, like a comparable boutique brand, just to appease other people. We will always have a lot of people. I know you see it online. If you come out with a specific product in a specific color, they'll say, "Oh, you got this watch, it's this color." And I'm like, if you join our mailing list, if you join, well, we like call it our in crowd. We join our in crowd, you'll be able to see, just our latest drops, whatever is going to come out. You get an exclusive look at it first. We have a whole strategic point to that. Everybody that's a part of the in crowd, you get everything probably up from, not probably, get it up from 1 day to a week earlier than everybody else. So there's whole, appreciate that. There's whole perks of being a part of it. So once people see it and they didn't get it, bro, when I say I'd be pissed, because you spend so much money and just vetting the whole process, like you just talked
Yeah,
about, with the supply and with just ordering the piece, designing it and all that. And then you get people that's like, "Oh, I ain't got it. Oh, I ain't this." That's why you can't never make products for people that just claim that they're around just to put a couple likes and a couple shares. Like, that's not cool. Then your business ends up hurting on it in the back end. And it's so disrespectful. And one more thing, if I could just look back, I definitely would keep it at the forefront to know that your first 5 years, do not expect a dime. Everything goes back into the company. If it ain't your basic needs, don't expect a dime. If it's something that's extra, put it back into your company, because you're definitely going to reap the benefits, of that later. So maintaining that discipline, having a dope team, and sticking to your vision for what you want your company to look like. Like, those were three areas that I knew that those wheels were starting to come off. The more notoriety we started to get, I was like, I need to put this back in order.
bring
So
it back, that foundation. Absolutely, man. 100%. How did you finance this? Like, because that's like all the testing, the travels that go to the manufacturers. What was financing look like?
there was no VCs, there was no co-founder, there was no nothing. I had a savings account, some good credit, and a dream and a plan. That was all it was. And I stuck with not having any VCs because I didn't want anybody to have venture capital and equity in the company when I first started. Because, that is the worst. Like, that's like, especially if it boom. Oh, I know you heard about the whole Damon John kind of fiasco.
Yes, just sue somebody. Had to get a restraining order.
Yeah, like, come on, bro. I believe that man, Fubu was still making money. So just knowing, just those aspects and just knowing how important it is just for your business just early on, like, that's just, it's super, super important. And with my funding, everything that came in to Incomparable, it went back into it. So as we grew and we hit a nice boom, God bless the dead, with George Floyd. It was the first time we made it on television. I did a short bit with Line of Sense on ABC News here in Houston. And we talked about, how Black businesses, the surge, the support and all that, it was good at the time. But people called me the biggest pessimist ever. You have to strategically put that just into motion, like this ain't. Because if people got too geek, and then when people got too geek, it wasn't even necessarily public's fault. Everybody turned to the wanting to have a business. Everybody. Without the proper structure that's needed for that longevity. And then they'll have one bad transaction. was that, customer, what black businesses, we tend to get the short end of the stick anyway. Like we can go on Chinese restaurants and, they had a whole bulletproof glass and we still order food, but, order come 2 days late.
Yeah, you make one mistake as a yeah, worst thing ever, right?
Worst thing ever. They go right on Google. They learn how to spell autocorrect. It's all the way correct. Like it is awful. So with knowing that everything with ABC and just, seeing how that really played a role, I just really strategically kept my head out there as far as, still doing black market and maintaining the relationships. We had our fourth store that we were in was a boutique store called Wonder Like Wonder that was in Edo here in Houston. And maintaining those relationships like that was super important. Like that really helped people to really identify just like a face with the brand and just put in the face the brand. And they really just connect with my story. And like you said, like why I saw that Incomparable, like how that connects with people. And don't be regular being Incomparable. Like that, people bought it with a sense of pride. But I would tell people, and other companies would too. I was like, man, so we have to make sure that we strategically place ourselves in position for customers to trust us just around the globe. So Incomparable, we ended up getting in, I think right now we're in 15 countries and counting, and just, building that up. But you have to kind of see through the weeds of other people. It's just like, you ain't got this, or you ain't got that, or you ain't got this, and you ain't got that. And as a dope businessman yourself, it's a lot of things that may come second nature to us that people that look like us might not have received that education really to know about. And it's disheartening because you want to help them, but you got to make sure that they want to get help, because if they see you, as competition, you might turn into food. So you got to make sure that you help the right people while helping yourself too, while building that dope clientele for your customers to make sure they stay loyal, because that's what's going to keep you in the black as opposed to being in the deep red forever, like Red Sea red
Crimson,
forever.
you be in Alabama.
Yeah, man, Alabama.
Yeah, that crimson tide. Huh? Absolutely. I appreciate the compliment too, bro. We're going to shift to our by design segment where I ask every guest the same three questions. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I already know. So, first question is, what has been the hardest part about designing a life and business you don't need a vacation from?
Taking a vacation. Taking a vacation has been the hardest part, and turning your mind off from it. Because as a growing CEO, you want to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's and being detailed and knowing those things and how important that is, because every single customer, like, they matter. Like, we do a jig whenever somebody sign up for your program. I do a jig whenever somebody go on to Compo.com and Coppo Watch to cop some eyewear. Like, they're more than just numbers. So knowing when to turn that off, that's a big thing. You got to sleep at night, man, so you can recharge, be ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a practice, right? Like yoga, it's a practice, right? Being able to turn it off and stuff. You ain't always going to be able to do it, for sure. So, second question is, what has been the best lesson you've learned from your entrepreneurial journey?
Authenticity over everything. Authenticity will get you farther than any type of strategic planning or any type of this. Authenticity connects you to people. Authenticity builds the relationships that you need to have with the proper people who can get you in the rooms that you need to get into. And authenticity will get those relationships with said individuals to speak of your name when you're not in those rooms, so you can capitalize on your growth. So that's one of the main things.
Now, I love that one, man, because I'm big on authenticity, man. So that's dope. Yeah, absolutely. So, third question is, what are three tools or tips that you would recommend when scaling a business?
Research and development, because that's important with knowing what your customer is going to want from you, whether it's a specific product line, whether it's a specific colorway, whether it's a specific material that they may look for, something that may be trendy or something that might just be like a flagship of a particular brand. The second thing, remaining knowledgeable and teachable at the same time. And that just even goes with the authenticity component. Building that community and being knowledgeable and teachable is really something that really helps Incomparable. Just online with social media and just with technology, just in general, it helps people to feel that inclusivity. And I was going to add that as the third one, but the inclusivity is the good component, because people are not only just saying, oh, it's more than just me wearing this, or it's more than just me as a part of this. It feels like a place that, it's a safe space. Like your dope Facebook group. It's a safe space to discuss various branches that come from the same tree would be the third. Continuity in a space where, and this is something that we as consumers, we may look at this kind of like on accident, making sure that you have the same colorways on things on social media. Like that really plays a role. You can go on Instagram and your reels and all of that, like those same covers and all. Like that's something I've definitely learned is definitely important. And I have to take a step back. I'm like, when I used to buy Nikes all the time when I was younger, and they came in an orange box, I knew that them was Nikes. But when they came in a different box, I'll be like, hey, hold on. Either these need some special edition joints, or I don't think I should be getting these. Like, it's like your mind is trained. My mind's going to train the eye to know that continuity. I know that swoosh is going to be right in the center. I know that white box is going to have my size on the left-hand side. The color is going to be on the right-hand side. The name, whatever shoe it is going to be at the top, on top of the color and all of that stuff. And that's put there to train your eye to look left to right. And all of that stuff is really important when growing your brand. And once you have it, keep it until your customers tell you, whether it's inadvertently, advertently, make whatever tweaks, because you want to make sure that you are doing business to please your customer and not yourself.
Hey, that's a bar right there. If you took nothing else from the conversation, that was definitely a bar. So remember, rewind that and listen again. Hey, Dr. Mario McCoy, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm so glad we had you, King. And hey, how can people connect with you?
Man, you can connect with me on LinkedIn at Mario McCoy. You can link it Incomparable with incomparableife.com. That's NCMPRBLIFE.com. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that good stuff is the same handle at Incomparable Life. That's at NCMPRBLIFE. Make sure y'all follow us. We like pictures. We say hi. Like, we not one of them bougie companies that, all of a sudden we see a gang of followers and we act all snooty and funny. We leave the snooty and funny acting and snobness for the captions that we put in. But, we speak to people. Some of them get thrown off by that too, bro. Like, they be like, is this real? Like, this you?
Yeah. Is this you?
Because we had a commercial we had with Kevin Harris in the Shark Tank. And this is in 2020 when the boom was and all that good stuff. And so people be like, so whenever I sign off to Dr. Mario, and like, oh, so this really you? You was in a commercial with Kevin Harris, so you really speak? Like, yeah, like I got a keyboard on my phone. Like, my phone on.
Absolutely. That's that authenticity piece. Hey, appreciate all the jewels you dropped, man. And hey, remember, y'all, be incomparable and keep ascending.
Yes, sir.
Design Your Life in Business, the podcast for leaders, is brought to you by Bright Mind Consulting Group. To find out more about Bright Mind Consulting Group and how you can become the best leader possible, visit brightmindconsultinggroup.com. Make sure you search for Design Your Life in Business on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Bright Mind Consulting Group, we cannot thank you enough for listening.